What's that number?
$998-2135. And it's 1599. All right, I'd like to welcome everybody to the Winston County Board of Commissioners regular meeting. It's May the 11th. It's 10 a.m. Roll call, please.
Jim Marlowe.
Present.
Brent Gentry.
Present.
Tim Atkinson.
Present.
At this time, I'd ask if everyone would please rise and say the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, we ask that your presence be here today, that you guide our words and our actions, that they might be pleasing to you. Please continue to bless our country, our nation, our state, our county, and all these things we ask in your most heavenly name. Amen.
Okay. First thing on the agenda, I guess we just jump down to the highway department. And Travis, you want to talk about this ordinance for establishment of altered speed zones?
Okay, so got a complaint from a citizen out there about speeding vehicles. And so I asked our engineering staff to do a quick speed study. They did the study, and then I went out and further studied and drove it and established the highest speed that I felt was safe to traverse the road. The existing speed limit, since it's not posted, is 55, and we're planning to post at 45, but some of you guys signed off on the resolution.
Where's this at, Travis?
It's just south of Pittsburgh, runs east and west, just on the south edge of town.
Okay.
It's a couple mile section road.
You know, we get a lot of calls throughout the years on this particular situation, you know, speed limit signs, but I tell people that, you know, you can put up 100 of them if it's not enforced.
Right. I talked to the gentleman when I was out there driving, and he was actually out in his yard, so I stopped and talked to him for a little while, and I explained the situation to him, and I said, we put these signs up. It's not really going to make any difference unless somebody is enforcing it. And but he insisted on getting some. So
Yeah, he's happy, but
yeah,
we don't know how it works.
yeah, not going to make any difference in my opinion.
This would be the entire length of the road.
Yes.
I'll make a motion to go ahead and do the established open speed zone as requested by us.
I'll second.
Do you want to read the
Yeah, I guess-
resolution number?
Yeah. The ordinance number 2105-1104.
I'll second.
Jim Marlowe.
Yeah.
Brent Gentry.
Yeah.
Tim Atkinson.
One question on that. How long does it take to do a speed study?
So this is a pretty simple operation in that. So basically, the engineering staff go out and they set for 3 hours. You're supposed to do 100 cars, but in the case of this case, you're not going to get 100 cars a day. So you do 3 hours, and you radar detect them, and you record those numbers, and then you establish a certain range in there to see what the prevailing. The idea is most people will drive a safe speed. And so you establish that, and then the county engineer goes out and actually drives it. I drive above what I think is safe to see, and then you slowly back off and make so many trips. And then in my opinion, 45 mile an hour was the fastest you could drive that road safely. So, and that kind of proved out too with the study on what most people will drive. So,
This is actually a road that I had a couple calls on. And Mark, this was a road I had a couple calls on, and one lady's worried about the kids and this and that playing. Next thing you know, they will put signs up for kids, and I just had to call Yvonne, talk to her.
yeah, and You know, and there's other things that play into it, the number of entrances, side roads, if there's pedestrian traffic, you know, and the pedestrian traffic's got to be a certain level before you consider that. But when I was out there, I did see a couple people walking, so. But, yep. Yes, sir.
Gabby Road is maintained by the county, not the state, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and this is already passed, so the speed limit now is 45. What was the old speed limit?
Well, it wasn't posted, so it would be 55.
Okay. Thank you.
So now, on the next, it's not on the agenda, this isn't really a voting item, but I asked Travis if he would explain the two other boards that you're asked to sit on.
Okay, so in the past, the county engineer has sat on the Redco board, and so I got a call from Brian Ziegler. I'm asking if I would be willing to sit on that board again, and I told him that I would be glad to as long as you guys were okay with it. Basically, the county engineer is an advisory position as far as infrastructure goes for Redco. A lot of times when there's economic development in the area, infrastructure plays heavily into that. So Brian asked if I would sit on that board for that. The second one is Greater Egypt Board, which you guys have already put me on that board. But so under some of the new transportation bills that are going to be coming out, they anticipate getting some additional monies to fund like HSIP studies, safety studies. And so under SIMPO, which is under Greater Egypt, I sit on a committee that helps select consultants and people to do work for SIMPO. Now there's going to be a committee that does the same thing for Greater Egypt to serve the people outside the field. So Joe Zanankevich, actually, Joe asked me if I would sit in on that as a representative on that too. So I just want to make you guys aware of that and make sure you're okay with it. So.
I think they couldn't ask a better person.
I'm glad you want to
Say one of us, I'm good.
You gotta go to vote confidence.
Yeah, vote confidence, that's always a good thing.
SIMPO only carries Jackson County and Williamson County. Correct. It's Williamson and Jackson, and so there's a umbrella around the others.
I believe
That's right. Yeah, SIMPO only serves the metropolitan planning
Yes,
area.
which is Williamson and Jackson.
Yes.
So this
Parts of
committee
Williamson, Jackson.
is going to be an umbrella for the other ones.
That's correct.
There's the other three.
Yep.
Part of the five total that make up Greater.
That's right.
These are some of the studies that SIMPO has worked on. The John A. Logan College, the multi-use trail, Williamson County, the Crenshaw Skyline intersection. I think the deal there is we're looking at putting in a roundabout.
Yeah, we're in the process right now, getting ready to start that project, the design of that project.
Yeah. The Giant City Pleasant Hill intersection, in Marion, the 17th Street Outer Drive intersection, Jackson County, the North Marion Street, Jefferson County, Dix Irvington Road, Perry County's Hyatt Tuttle Road, Carbondale, Chautauqua, the Lafferty intersection. So.
Yeah, some of those studies, I think, were funded out of a different pot from SIMPO that are outside the metropolitan planning area. And Williamson County will benefit additionally for this because we have a pretty big area outside of the metropolitan planning area.
Right.
That now we'll be able to use that money for safety studies outside that area also.
Some of these studies that aren't on here also, besides these in Jackson County, with IDOT itself.
Yes,
You know,
yes.
So.
Because Interstate 57 and 13 both go through metropolitan planning, so they're also.
Correct.
For that.
So.
And I tell you, that organization, a lot of people don't get frustrated with it, because basically it pools the federal money between the local municipalities. It doesn't really affect Williamson County, but it pools their money, and so it creates some animosity sometimes. But the things that have come out of that are good is there's lots of HSIP studies and other type studies that get done that they've been very successful in bringing lots of money to Southern Illinois. I mean, for example, I expect the ITEP application, ITEP announcements to be coming out next week or two. And there's a potential of $10 or $12 million worth of work coming to Southern Illinois based on these studies. And that's
Could you
really good.
explain what ITEP and HSIP is?
Well, ITEP is Illinois Transportation Enhancement Program. And so there's like 50 million a year set aside for transportation enhancement. It's alternative type stuff, which is your downtown improvements like Marion and Heron and people have put in for. It's bike accommodations like the one from Marion High School that's eventually going to get you all the way to Carbondale. Those kind of programs. HSIP is safety type money. So I'll just give you an example. I just submitted 3 applications. One is for Pittsburgh Road, to put shoulders on Pittsburgh Road because it shows up as a high accident area. The other one is what they call a systemic guardrail project, which is countywide. All the terminal intersections on the county highways that are substandard, we put in an application for that. And we also put in an application for a new roundabout at Cambria Road and Cardinal Road. That's also a high extent location. You know, those 3 applications together are between $3.5 to $4 million. You know, chances are we could get 1. If we get 2, we figure with that. But so, you know, you submit 3 and hopefully you get 1. So, but and that group prepared some of those applications. So, yep.
I know during the meeting yesterday for Simple, there was concern that due to the loss of population, I guess, with the census, report that they may lose their NPR status or whatever. But they were that they're not going to do it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. There was some when we started reading that. Joe and I were reading it. We're like, this may do away with it. But then because of the way they classified the refuge, my understanding is it kept everybody together and it kept the NPO together. So, yep. Okay.
Well, I can't tell you how thrilled I am to get on these boards. If you ever need any more boards to sit on, you let us know.
Man, I've got enough boards.
Hey, years ago I was on 7. Now this is ridiculous. You get this down, you really have time for it. Never gotten 3 or so, you know.
It's you know, it's interesting to see it's good to see what's going on in the community. It kind of gives you a heads up and it lets us anticipate needs that we may have, you know. So I don't mind doing it. Okay. Anything else, guys? Thank you.
All right. Under old business, we have the remedial court supervision program.
And I don't have any information on that yet. So let's table that next meeting.
Okay. The next item under old business is the building permit ordinance. Jeff, Alex, would you like to explain?
And you guys want to come up and
The
stand?
dynamic duo is there.
No takers, huh?
All right, we'll pick one. Alex, you want to explain?
So we've been working with Andrew at the State's Attorney's Office to work on the amendment, or did we settle on amendment or revision to the building permit ordinance? Basically, we cut down the review time from 10 to 5 days at the Supervisor of Assessments office and the County Engineer's office. The filing fee is $50 for residential, $100 for commercial, $200 for industrial. You have to start work within 1 year of getting the permit. We cleared up some language as far as the floodplain stuff to make that jive with floodplain ordinance. And then cleared up the process. We're still going to report monthly to the board, but it's not going to go through the board, so that helps the people applying. They don't have to wait the whole month before getting their permit. You guys done that sign off on?
From the time the person purchases the permit till they start. Okay, they don't have to finish construction.
They have to break ground within 1 year.
Right. And there's no end
No,
on that construction. If it
Once
takes
they
2
start.
years.
Yeah.
Okay.
unless there's a significant change to the plan.
Okay, what is defined as a significant change?
Double the size of what you're building would be a significant change.
Okay.
You know, build a shed,
Who-
put in plans for a shed, you build a house instead,
Who will determine that? Will you guys be determining that? So
inspections.
you make an inspection?
As we're, assessing the house and we see it's a permit for a shed and you built the house instead, we're gonna send you one of the nasty letters that say, hey, you didn't build it according to the building permit.
And what's his fine or penalty when he does that?
The penalty, the first, step of the penalty phase is, hey, you need to come in and get a building permit on this.
So non-monetary?
Yeah.
Then after that?
The first step,
Except for the fee for the building.
Yeah.
Except for the additional fee.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's say that they don't do that. What happens then?
then it gets referred to the state's attorney's office. I believe that was 500 is what it was.
You also, I believe that they have, after receiving the letter, so much time to come in and take care of it.
Right.
To go past that date, then the state's attorney.
So it's like a grace period. Once they get the letter, they have a certain amount of time.
I believe that's.
Come in and get your building permit, we'll call it good. After that, it gets referred to the state's attorney's office, and then it's $500 a day.
It's a day,
Yeah.
$500 a day. Right.
That's how that's written.
The state's attorney's office.
And that was in
will
the
receive
original ordinance written and passed last March.
Okay.
So when we put this on the website, we need to have both ordinances.
Well, we were gonna, that was some of our discussions with Andrew was, is this going to just be a rewrite and just insert the new language in with the steps so that we don't have the original and the amendments over here? We thought that would be clear if we just blended it, as amendments, not.
Is it amendment or revision, is what our question was.
Because section 10 now, we have an old section 10, we need section 10 with different verbiage, so we're wanting to just replace those sections that we rewrote and just incorporate them in and get rid of the old language.
So then this would be an amendment,
This would be, well,
This would be a revision.
revision.
okay, because it
It's
says,
taking the place of the original
on
section.
the top of the ordinance, it says amendment to an ordinance.
So does that need to be changed to that?
I can change it. The biggest, it's more of a convenience factor. I'm sure this isn't the first ordinance that's ever been amended, revised, changed by the
Well, and there
board.
was some stuff added too as well.
Sure, there is
Separate
new language in here, not just a switch, from off to on. We did add, especially in section 10, which talks about the procedure set forth for obtaining a building permit. There is lots of new language as opposed to just a change. I guess my question is probably, and I didn't have time to ask this yesterday, I apologize, is from a county clerk perspective, or whoever actually does put the ordinance online, what's easier? When we have an amendment, when we have a revision, do you just put both of them up there, or do you like to just merge them? If you want to merge them, I can just send you one PDF document. If you want them separate, we can keep them separate. Just whatever is easier for you.
So when you say merge them, you're gonna have both of them there, with like the first one and then the
No,
amendments?
if you want to merge, what I would do is take this language. I would basically go into a document, I'd take the old ordinance, and I would
Put in the
basically
new
put this
information.
in, and you'd have one document that would be approved as of yesterday, would be, or as of today, pardon me. So you can have that, you can have the original document, and then right next to it, you can have the changes, if you will, or the modifications, or the revisions, or amendment, whatever you want to call it.
When we do it, in the past, when we've done amendment, isn't it just a brand new document, it's the amendment, and it has it all in one?
Yeah, so either
I
way,
think
we're
that's
gonna have
probably
to
better say
add
that.
something new.
I think it would be less confusing for someone
Right.
who looks it up.
I'm just afraid they'll just look at the latest one and not go back and look at the
Right.
newer.
Well, because it goes in section 10, section.
Because we changed the time period, we changed the amount,
There's other stuff in there.
so that's gonna be very confusing.
Yeah.
to try to go back and forth.
As somebody looking at the building permit, wondering what the rules are,
Yes.
you're gonna want one document with everything in it.
Yeah, so.
I got a couple questions. Okay, number one, how will this be made known to the public?
We'll publish it in the paper again, and we'll put it on the website, and, that's usually what we did the last time, was just get it out there. Let me notice, hey, we can even run that ad for a while. And just up to the second thing about where the money goes and what payment, who's paying for all these. Things are gonna be done, so, anyway.
And what about the projects that are in progress right now?
We've already had people calling. The main thing we're checking for is to make sure that they are not in a flood zone area. We didn't have the other stuff to do, so when we go back and we'll start picking stuff up, we'll be letting people know that they, will be required, that they should be getting any of the building permit. We'll let the field people take care of it, just letting them know, making them aware.
Okay.
As far as I know, and once, we have not said that we're gonna go back and making people pay for building permit, because we just want.
We've been letting them know it's coming, but we've been going through the steps with them, like.
We're still looking, making sure not in the flood zone, we're tagging the car, we're making sure those types of things are still being done, so that, which is the purpose that we're wanting to building permit for our office, as far as that. The only thing we're not doing is not willing to buy these, engineers right now at this point. We do know it's going up, and we do know we're checking to make sure they're not doing it. So if they are, then of course, they're gonna have to go through that step anyway, regardless if we have a building permit. But now we're not gonna try to go out there and start dealing with people. A lot of them have to call, and we have been sending it right now. I've been checking, we're trying to start on the file of who we're talking to. We're trying to let the field people know once this passes. We're gonna give them copies of it, let people know, from this point on, we have to go through the process, here's some information about it.
There's gonna be a learning curve.
Sure. Yeah, and then making people aware, we don't want to do them too hard. That's why we wanted the grace period time to let them come in and get it taken care of. Some people will take care of that, the others that don't, that's when you have to get the state attorney's office involved, and usually a letter from them will typically make people get up and go.
Right.
So that's what we just plan to publish that, and we'll have it on the website. And then we can run a couple ads in the paper also referring to the building permit process itself and where to go online to look for it.
You need a motion?
Yes, I need the motion then to approve the building permit ordinance.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance number 21-05-11-05.
Second.
Jim Arnold?
Yes.
Gordon Gentry?
Hey.
And I'm deceased.
And we still haven't came up with where the money goes. I know that, the treasurer talked about setting up that fund, that trust fund, or, if you remember what he said he's gonna put it on, but that way, three offices that are having expenses due to this, that money would be there to be able to help pay for expenses.
I would expect that money would pay for your expenses.
It should.
Yeah, and I don't think we're gonna get rich off of it by any means,
No.
but we need to have a clear path
We're
where,
gonna need to know where treasurer needs to know where that money goes, and then like I said,
that would be fine with me.
who's gonna be available to be able to get into it, to help pay, like I said, for publication, they can have the permits printed up.
Both forms, filing
Forms
cabinets.
and filing cabinets.
Wherever the expenses are incurred, in my opinion, where the money needs to
We're gonna
go.
Inspection costs.
We're gonna have some expenses incurred, so again, we're back to, I think, like I said, Ashley had knew what he wanted to do with it.
It was a trust he wanted to set up in the general fund.
And that way, those money would be deposited there when they got it, and then whatever expenses the officers occurred, then we would take it out of there. Now, assume that ever got up high enough, then of course, I assume that would be, instead of the general fund, that would,
I don't see that happening.
I don't know.
I don't think, like I said, again, we're hoping this is a break even.
I'm hoping it breaks even.
Yeah,
Don't
I mean,
worry.
but it's a user fee, basically what it is.
I don't think you'll have any pushback on that, once you explain why we're doing it, that
Like I said, he had a pretty good idea of what he wanted to do with that. We just need to make sure, that that's where we want to set it up.
I'm perfectly fine with that.
We'll get with Ashley, make sure that, do that way, that's what.
That just makes common sense to me.
Well, like I said, again, it's how we use it. We're taking that money that's collected there, and again, I don't see it getting us off of. Okay, so, with that,
We're all in with this then, and we'll figure that out.
I'll get hold of it. I'll go down and talk about it.
So,
Okay.
so
I
is
sent him
this
a text to see
changing
if he can come up
or
here.
no?
He's got something else we need to discuss.
Still not clear on that.
What's that stuff?
Is this changing or, I mean, is the wording on that changing or is it staying the
I thought we were
same?
gonna do the blend. Oh, you mean on the
Blend it.
ordinance itself?
Okay.
For publication only though, right?
Well, for our records, Drew's gonna fix it and blend it, and then that's what we'll put in our records and on the website.
There's mine.
I'll rewrite.
So we good?
Proof money?
There's mine.
All right. What do you like?
Greg, you wanna-
Yeah, April 13th, I make motion to supplement April 13th, 2021.
Jim Marlowe?
Yeah.
Bridge Gentry?
Yeah.
Tim Atkinson?
I make motion to accept April 19th, 2021.
Second.
Jim Marlowe?
Yeah.
Bridge Gentry?
Yeah.
Tim Atkinson?
Motion to accept the April 21, 2021.
Jim Marlowe?
Yes.
Bridge Gentry? Tim Atkinson?
Motion to accept April 27th, 2021.
Jim Marlowe?
Yeah.
Bridge Gentry?
Yeah.
Tim Atkinson?
Accept the minutes from May 5th, 2021.
Jim Marlowe?
Yeah.
Bridge Gentry?
Okay.
Tim Atkinson?
Same thing with reports. I'm trying to read it, William.
Yeah. You just do those to approve, not to.
What was that?
You're just reading them into the, right, just to accept.
Williamson County Clerk fees account March. Williamson County Clerk Real Estate Trust March. Williamson County Clerk Trust March. Williamson County Clerk Private Records March. Williamson County General Fund March. Williamson County General Fund.
Okay, under resolutions, we have a sale to new owner, Stephen J. Miller.
Make a motion to accept sell to new owner Stephen J. Miller, 01-22-453-007.
Second.
Jim Marlowe?
Yeah.
Bridge Gentry?
Okay.
Tim Atkinson?
Should we do the second one?
Sure.
Make a motion to accept sell to new owner Stephen J. Covey, 07-29-253-012.
Jim Marlowe?
Yeah.
Bridge Gentry?
Yeah.
Tim Atkinson?
Okay, the retiree health insurance resolution. Okay, this is in order to continue the health insurance benefits for the retirees in Williamson County.
Do you want me to grab Julie for this?
Yeah, I want to grab her and let her explain it.
What do you need to know?
All right, we're talking about the retiree health insurance resolution.
Yep.
Stand on the shoulder there for us.
That way you're on camera.
Yeah. Okay, could you explain a little bit what this resolution details?
Basically, you're just signing this to say that, yes, we are going to continue with the retiree health insurance, and we have to do it every year. And so, I mean, that's basically, it doesn't really change from year to year.
No changes.
No changes within this.
There's no changes at all. It's the same one we sign every year.
Okay. Don't try to dig
Yeah,
questions.
we just have to sign it, because IMR requires it, that we have a resolution. So you're just signing and saying that you're gonna continue with their health insurance.
All right, then we just need a motion to,
I'll make a motion to accept resolution number 21-05-11-42.
I'll second.
Jim Marlowe? Greg Gentry?
Yes.
Jim Anderson?
thanks, Sheila.
Good job, Joe, you can sit on the X. You found the X.
All right, two things I've actually, he would come up here. Actually, two things to discuss. The first one, we were just talking about the building permit ordinance and what to do with the money that comes in for the building permits. We're talking about utilizing that to pay, offset the expenses of going out to inspect, making sure everyone has the permits, that they're abiding by the permits. Do we need to create a special fund for that?
Well, I can get with Drew and follow up with Kim. My initial thought was to do it as a trust, like what we've done with, cremation and all that, so that way you can run line item numbers against all that and see what the receipts and the disbursements are in addition to what the monthly balances are. Then that way it's separated. And then, if we needed to buy, file cabinets or paper or, if there's additional mileage or whatever that would need to be done. If there's Heartland's come out with a new portal that could possibly allow me to accept credit cards. So maybe even buying another credit card terminal like out of those funds so you can show that that's what's being done. I think that would be the best tracking method to do it that way. But I'll see if there's any, restrictions within the statutes about doing that and master, and then again, get a little direction from Kim. Sure. And make sure that was my initial thought, and that way we can keep track of it. It's not going to be a bunch of money.
No.
I don't want to have it as a standalone account because there's just not enough probably activity or balances to be able to make it. Work it out.
People are still gonna build, do stuff and now you know about it, so.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. The second thing, actually came into my office the other day and asked about what we're going to do about when Celeste retires.
That was on my list.
And so I thought this would be a good time to discuss. One of the options would be for his office to take over what her job consisted of.
I'm not saying there needs to be option one.
Well,
what I need to find out, and I think what we all need to find out is exactly, everything that Celeste does. But I know that her office and my office do interact a lot together in regards to, the grants, the funds that are received, in addition to the reporting that she has to do on the the data stuff and everything else. But, my understanding is that she usually writes the grants for a majority of the offices, especially the annual ones. I don't know if when Amanda, when you apply for yours, if
No,
you
she
do those
doesn't do
yourself.
any of mine.
Okay, but I think possibly for like the state's attorney's office, and then I know like the
Sheriff's
downstate grants and that, sheriff department, and all that, she, I think usually does those on an annual basis. So the question would be, if you're not intending on replacing her or putting anybody in that position, whose responsibility is it going to be to apply for those grants and then keep track of them and everything else? Because that's a substantial amount of money that we get, for those, each year. So to lose those would be very detrimental financially to us. So I don't know if the first step is for you guys to sit down and talk with her, for me to sit down and talk with her and get a full understanding of what she does, and then, come back and discuss that. But we just need to probably have some kind of idea, because I don't know as far as the reporting. I'm sure some of this is monthly, and I'm sure there's deadlines to report it. So I'd hate for her to leave, I guess, at the end of June, and there'd be something due in the first part of July or the middle of July, and we're sitting here getting ready to start doing tax bills and not have any kind of preparation to be able to handle that. So that's my main concern, is just to where we, doing a little pre-planning, for that, and it'll be here before you know it. So.
And what's her last name?
In the gym.
In the gym, I believe.
When you came in the other day, we talked, and I called Celeste in, and had a long talk with her, just to kind of look through things and how this is gonna work. Of course, it's not her problem. I mean, if she's gone. I kind of laid out like an X. I laid out like one X, like this one area right here might be important right now. Then you got these X's that come down the road. How are they gonna be taken care of? Well, again, that's not really something that she's gonna worry about because she can be retired. I know she talked some other things to us all, but, I think the smartest thing to do would be us as a board decide, in one of our meetings, that what our plan is with that office, because she said maybe that each office, like yours and State's Attorney and Sheriff's Office, maybe do their own thing with these things that they do, but let's be real, okay? We know how this works around here. They're gonna forget about it or whatever, and then we're gonna lose out, because this is her focus right now, is doing grants, stuff like that. That is her job, okay? So if you get mixed up into the treasurer's office doing reporting or whatever, and you forget, like you said, doing tax bills, or the state's attorney's office has to do these grants, whatever, to keep their people, and they forget, you're out of luck. So you need somebody to really focus on everything she does, whether that would be a contractor person or however we do it, but it's something that we really need to look out for, the whole county. Because I know what Celeste does. I mean, we talked a long time. She does quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, if I had to do it in my office, I would probably need somebody else to,
And then here's
to handle that. So you're not gonna just wipe the.
if you hire somebody in economic development, let's just say, I don't know what your plans, what you think about this, but you hire somebody, remember, you've hired forever. Benefits, all.
Forever.
Now, you can look at contractual, you can look at part-time, you can look at maybe working out something with her. I don't know how the IMRF deals all the way. Work out something with Celeste first would be first priority, if possible. But I know how this place works, and there are people who are gonna get wrapped up in everyday duties and forget to do stuff, and then boom, you're out of this person, that person, over state attorney's office or best or whatever it is. I don't think it's a good idea for the office holders to be over it, because I'm afraid they're gonna mess up.
I mean, there are treasurer's offices that handle this. I've talked to several of them, but it's an undertaking.
Oh, yeah.
But
For the whole government?
Yes.
Grant writing and all,
Well, I don't know about the grant, I have to check that, I know like the reporting part of it.
that's just a minor part of it.
Right, but yeah, so you'd have to stay on deadlines and everything else to make sure that
Yeah,
that
right.
was done. I mean, the other thing also to consider in this is that, we're at some point in time going to receive this ARPA money, the first round of it. There are reporting guidelines that go along with that, and up until you guys are notified, Celeste was going to handle that reporting.
You just keep going, you're hitting on all the topics.
Again, that's a large chunk now, the remainder within 12 months of when we see that first, and a 4-year period, that stuff is going to have to be, monitored and have oversight of. So, that's another, facet that you guys are gonna need to take into consideration, with that. Because there's a lot of moving parts, within that. Nobody knows exactly what's supposed to be done with those monies, what, is gonna be allowed. One of the mentions is something about, potential grants that the county can provide to businesses and households and others. So if that's the case, you're gonna have someone, overseeing that grant process and putting together an application. And if that is, even an area that you want to entertain. So there's a lot of additional things that could come down the road, over this next, 1 to 4 years.
You nailed it, and here's the situation is, we had a commissioner back years ago that wanted to get rid of the position, going to get rid of Celeste and all that garbage. And then we've heard, let's throw her part-time. You're about to find out what all she does whenever she's gone. I think, out of courtesy and from a heart standpoint, of all the years she put in here, we need to sit down and talk to her and options are available and what all she does and get her input to what she thinks. And then we, the board, have to make a decision what we're gonna do with this department. I mean, you just said it, you're less than a little over a month away, and it's over. And if I remember right, actually, correct me if I'm wrong, in July, August, September, she does a lot of grant writing for stuff to get stuff in for the next year.
I know there's at least, I think, 3 positions of the 4 grant positions in
Right.
the state's attorney's office that run from July 1 through June 30 because they follow the state's fiscal year. So, yeah, so I mean, there would be something that either she would be writing now, you know, to be prepping and getting those approved for, you know, July date. And then obviously, whenever we start receiving those monies, she's filling out those grant reports and providing information.
In a perfect world, it would be nice if each office could pick up and write their own grant fee stuff, but in reality, this is not gonna happen. So, I don't know, I guess we all want.
I mean, I think the discussion is warranted.
Huh?
I mean, the discussion is warranted.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Maybe there's some boilerplate stuff that is, you know, it's the
I
same
think the
thing
first
every year.
thing is we need to all meet with her so that we all are on the same page as far as what she does, what the requirements are and everything. And then, you know, and this is just hypothetical, but maybe work something out temporarily with her, you know, a transitional period. And that would give us time maybe to look for either, when we can decide, do we want to make a part-time position, do we make it another full-time position? Or what direction we ever want to put the board wants to go.
Well, if you do something like that, which I did address to her about something like, you know, she has to be very careful with IMRF.
Right.
Because she can move the IMRF back, you know, I'm just talking, I don't know we're in here, but she can move the IMRF back maybe a couple months and help us get situated. She may be, you know, frustrated, want to get out. I don't know. That's why we owe it to her, to talk to her, and that's the least we can do.
I'm not involved in this decision-making process. However, I think technically my job is to advise the board, so I feel okay in giving my opinion on this. I would be very careful trying to just use attrition to cover her duties. The reason is she's in a position, and I don't know any of the numbers, I haven't looked at them. I would guess though, in the amount of grants that she brings back to this county, her position almost probably pays for itself. The other thing to please consider is she's essentially an expert in her field. And while it would be nice if every single department would just cover their own stuff, let me tell you, I won't talk for every department, but I'll talk for the state's attorney's department. There's a lot of smart people over there in that room with a lot of education. Not a single one of us know how to write a grant. And unfortunately, I think that would probably fall to me, which probably would not serve the state's attorney's office or the county very well. So I'd just be careful. If you shift the burden to Ashley's office, well, I don't see a huge benefit in doing that other than the fact that other counties do that. So maybe we're trying to get in line with other counties. He said when he spoke earlier that he'd probably have to bring somebody else on. Well, if you're going to bring somebody else on, why don't you just refill her position?
Our dedicated person.
Yeah.
So again, it's not my decision, it's a board decision, but that's just my personal opinion. It's not a legal opinion, that's just a personal opinion I thought I'd offer.
And Your Honor.
Appreciate your opinion. We'll give it the merit that it deserves.
But you're right. You're also right on the emails we got from Kelly Murray and you about the ARPA. It's another conversation we're going to have. So I can see a meeting, but several things here. One question I do have from old business is, so we can put this thing behind us, is comptroller, have you got anything lined out with anybody or ask those questions or whatever the plan was?
I'll answer that. Okay. The questions were sent. I just received an email back from Rosanna yesterday. I did get her response back, but the response that she gave us, I told her that I'd like to go ahead and set up a conference call now. And so I got a response back yesterday for setting up some time for the conference call. The conference call I'd like to set up would be with the state's attorney's representative, myself, Kim Meyer. If we involve the other board members, then that means it's got to be an open meeting. that week. What I don't want, and I think what they tried to avoid the last time, was that maybe, I don't know how to put it, the drama. They don't want a meeting with the drama involved. They just want to answer the questions that anyone has. I submitted all the questions. I forwarded the response to the state's attorney's office. So, like I said, yesterday, I just got the response yesterday from Rosanna. And one of the meeting times that they're looking at would be either tomorrow after 2 o'clock. And for Friday, I'm going to be gone Friday. So I'd suggest that, and I spoke with Andrew, that we meet tomorrow afternoon after 2 o'clock sometime. After that, then we present everything to everybody. And
Well, let's circle back to why, let's circle back to
Did you include my question that I sent you?
The questions that you sent me, I forwarded them on, so they were ultimately sent on to the IOC.
So I guess, I mean, my question is, am I, as the treasurer, am I responsible for any of this in regards to reporting or being aware of or coming back? Because if I am, then I feel like I should be part of this conversation.
Well,
That's what, but if I'm not, then I'm fine with not being involved with it. But you know, since I got that CC the one time,
right.
okay. I didn't understand why I received it, because I've never received any other correspondence other than that. But if there is something that falls upon my office or me as a county official, as the treasurer, that I need to be aware of the deadlines more than that, and I would like to be included, I mean, in this, so that I can make sure that I'm staying on top of it.
That's why I want
Those things as well. But if I'm not, I mean, by all means, I have plenty to do.
That's why I want to circle back to wagon. Let's go back to what it all took place. First time, it's going to be what I call a shit show. Everybody wanted to be on their side and this side, and everybody wanted to talk to the comptroller, which I thought was total garbage. You don't need all that drama. If you look back at the tape, the last time we spoke, it was going to be the 3 commissioners, the state's attorney, and the comptroller's office, period. Be glad to share that with anybody who wants to hear it. That's what the agreement was. I don't know what the problem is of not having this open meeting. Who cares? We've talked about this crap for 2 months now. And I don't believe that Kim Myers is involved in the conversation. She's one of the parties involved in this. You're going to put her in, you should put the other people in. They're the ones saying they did wrongdoing. If they did, they should have a voice at the table. You need to go back right to what we said on tape, 3 commissioners, open meeting, and the state attorney and the comptroller. Period. What are we trying to hide?
That was where they decided they did not want to attend the open meeting.
No. That's not what the email says.
They said originally, yes, that they would meet with us in an open meeting. And then it was when I contacted them again prior to, I was letting them know who all would be here. For some reason, they changed their mind. Somebody may have contacted them, and maybe they sensed there may be some drama. I have no idea. But then they changed their mind. They said, how about you guys just submit your questions to us, and that way we can give you, we can give a better review of the questions without all the drama, and give you the answers.
Why don't they just send the answers back and be done with it?
They sent the answers back, but
we're done.
Huh?
We're done then.
They sent, well, if that's what you want. Because I was going to have the state's attorney there to verify everything. Actually, I don't have a problem if you want to be in that meeting. I do not have a problem. You're now a member of that board. So I don't have a problem with that.
Well, I'm just saying though, if I have no responsibility, I mean, in regards to submission, dates, whatever, I'm fine with not being involved with it. But I mean, if there is a delay or a missed deadline or something, and I'm partly responsible for that, or if I'm brought into it, then I do want to be aware and understand that I have.
I think you're going to find out that the biggest reason for the rejection was their audit that was submitted. That was submitted, and we have the verification. It was submitted with our audit on the 24th of, I forgot what day it was.
February 24th.
February 24th. It was submitted together. That was one of the questions. Why don't they just resubmit? It was submitted with it together, but their audit didn't qualify. And that was the reason. So since their audit doesn't qualify, our audit doesn't qualify. That's going to be the core.
That's not what the letter.
I mean, that's fine, but like I said, I mean, the email originally was in September.
And hence, that's why.
That I was CC'd on. But again, I never got any other, I mean, that was the one email, nothing before, nothing after. And I haven't seen anything since. So again, what I was trying to find out is if I am part of the chain somewhere of submitting timely audits for the county or financial information to the state, then yes, I want to be involved in it. If I'm not part of the chain and it was just like a courtesy, CC to me to make me aware.
That's probably
I think it's
what it
important.
That's fine.
Personally, I think it's important that you be on that phone call, because during that phone call, you may have a question that you can bring up that only you would have thought of. So in my opinion, you should be on that phone call.
So,
Well,
That's my
you
opinion.
got the answers. I don't know why you need a phone call. You got the answers apparently.
because some of the questions, there were two questions where it said refer to the state's attorney for their legal opinion.
Okay, then email them. Well, have the attorney.
So,
I
and
thought-
that's why I'm having Andrew sit in on the phone.
The letter stated that it was declined because the information from PVC was not included.
We have,
That was in the letter.
I apologize for cutting you off,
That's
Commissioner.
fine.
There's some contradictory information that the county has received from the IOC. There is the letter that you're referring to that says that the information wasn't included, which was received March 17th of 2021.
Correct.
However, in the email that was received, I don't remember the date, I guess it was within the last, say, 10 days, the comptroller's office has confirmed that the information submitted by the PBC was included, so it was submitted. However, the information submitted by the PBC did not meet actuarial standards, approved actuarial standards, I think is the terminology they used, and so therefore it was deemed as if it wasn't even submitted because it's not compliant. And because the PBC is a component unit of Williamson County, that's why the entire Williamson County 2019 audit had failed. I think the reason for the phone call is to just clarify. There were, I think, a list of, 7, 8, 9 questions.
Some of them were overlapping.
That were submitted. There were overlapping questions, so instead of asking the question twice, it was just asked once. And the response that was given, I think specifically to question 1 and question 3, in my opinion, were almost contradictory. And so, personally, I would like to know what they mean by their specific answer that was written down, because it's not clear. On question 1, they say go left, and on question 2, they say, well, maybe you should turn right. Come on. We just, at this point, we want to be compliant. We want to know what we did wrong so that we don't do it wrong in the future. Specifically regarding your point, Mr. Treasurer, from your elected official standpoint, I don't believe that you have any responsibility at this point to the IOC. In fact, it would almost be inappropriate, arguably, for you to have any responsibility at this point, because it's essentially your records in your office that's being audited. I know that's a simplification. I think it was the original email was sent to you, 1, maybe as a courtesy, but 2, kind of a, hey, we haven't heard anything back from the rest of the county. Let's try the county treasurer. That's the next person maybe we'll reach out to. That's my guess. Taking the hat off and flipping the script, you're a member of the PBC. And I think it would probably be beneficial. I agree with the Commissioner Atkinson on the end that it would probably be good for you to be on that call. 1, because you will come up with ideas as the county treasurer that the rest of us probably won't think of to ask. But 2, as a member of the PBC, as this gentleman was saying, having a member from every party that's involved there might be a good thing, and you can kind of satisfy that requirement. So,
Well, the subject matter is Hudson and Myers was mentioned many times. We're gonna have Hudson and Myers on the call. You must, that's my PUC on the call, or you all hell will break with it. It's that simple. We're gonna make the call.
so are you insinuating that you'd like Dean Snyder on the call?
Whoever, I don't have to pick somebody. I don't care if you can put on there, but it's only, that's what you don't want. It's because of that. But if they're saying that they did something wrong, aren't they entitled to hear it?
And I would recommend
I mean,
Ashley, because Ashley originally, you were wanting to be like the liaison between the two boards. This, now that you're on the board, this is part of that job.
Only rebuttal to that is that I am freshly, I haven't even been installed. Wednesday I'll be installed. So, I mean, technically I'm not on that board as of yet. You appointed me, but I've not been sworn in. And then two, I don't have any information other than speaking and trying to get background from a couple of the existing board members of the PDC about what's transpired up to this point. So I wouldn't be comfortable in being able to speak on behalf of the PDC when I have no prior knowledge of how this came about.
the key on all this is let's get it behind us. Okay, that's the end goal, but let's get it behind us being fair. You can't have a tilted conversation. If you're gonna have a tilted conversation, it's gonna be a bad deal. I recommend you to talk to the chairman of the PBC, my opinion only, and tell them there's gonna be a phone call, and whoever you want there. If I was accused of sitting in something that's not right, wouldn't I have the right to speak up? Or are we just gonna push me to the side? You said that it wasn't a good enough, whatever, audit. Don't they have a right to speak? Or we can push it aside as you can't mind?
This is where.
Come on, man, this is bullshit, so.
Okay, well, that's your opinion.
It's my opinion, and I guarantee it's everybody's opinion out there, so.
Okay, that's fine. Well, my opinion's different.
Okay, do what you want, Jim.
And
Do what you want, bud. That's what you want to do.
First off, I'd like to finish speaking. Okay, I think that, the drama as we see right now is what they want to avoid. I think actually would be good to listen in and we can forward you the information that she sent. Now, as far as having their auditor listen, okay, it doesn't matter really what he says. He submitted the audit when we asked for the audit from the Public Building Commission, and that's what the audit was that was given to them. It was forwarded to us. It was sent to the comptroller's office. The comptroller said it didn't qualify. Hence, our audit doesn't qualify. So, I think if you had him here and listening to this, I think it would turn into a drama. You'd have more drama. But,
Could I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously there's animosity between the two auditors, whether it's reciprocal, I don't know. But the two attorneys, I mean, have been pretty level-headed on both sides. I mean, would it be possible to ask the PDC's attorney to represent or to be present in that, since you have our attorney and they have had, I believe, had correspondence back and forth with Mr. Malkovich. And they have, I think, been courteous of one another. And I don't think you would have that elevated issue. And then you got somebody who is knowledgeable on the statute side and understanding, can also relay, I think, information back to you, both in the chair of the PDC in addition to the auditor, and maybe, keep things at a pretty polite level.
I think
you may need, if you wanted to, I mean, to extend the invitation to, the chair of the PDC, which is Doug Peoples now, as an interim, that you got posted each side represented equally, and then keep the two auditors now until you get clarification and understanding, and then we can take that back to the respective groups.
I think that'd be a reasonable request.
So who's gonna be on the call?
Well, I guess
So it'd be the chairman of the PBC,
chairman of the PBC,
their attorney,
of the county,
our attorney,
and the PBC's attorney.
Kim Meyer.
No, I was saying not Kim, not the other auditor.
Right,
And I
no
just-
auditors.
And I mean, if
I'll
I,
disagree with that.
and if I want.
You gotta have Ken with you, Jim. I mean, you know, you gotta have, you can't, you know.
I'm just saying
It's
that,
just so
that
disrespectful.
it would be, you know, to get the understanding and not to have the input from either side and let them, and take it back and then relay the information to both.
You're dead on.
Auditors. And then they could provide. the
If their
information.
attorney is there, what does it matter? Who else is there? What does it matter?
Well, I mean,
A lot.
I think.
We got their attorney and we'll have our
This is
attorney.
gonna trickle on for a year. We're
So,
never gonna get behind this.
and, you know, so that's gonna be it. I don't have a problem with the attorney and the chairman of the PDC being.
But the person that submitted audit has no say. But you got,
The person that
but
submitted
you
the
got your
audit was
person,
the chairman of the PDC,
but you got your person gonna be there, correct?
because they're the ones responsible for our audit. It's overall, they're just a component unit of us.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, this way you want, Jim. I'm gonna promise you that this is gonna be a bad situation.
I mean, that's fine. I mean, like I said, I mean, my recommendation was to not include either of them.
Yeah,
But-
that's the fairest thing to do. And both are done. It's very simple.
And then each attorney could then pass on their understanding to each auditor and what was non-compliant and what they might be the necessary steps to be able to fix it. Instead of getting suggestions from one side or the other about how the other person should fix it.
But we circle back around, remember, the last conversation was 3 board members and the state's attorney, period. That's what I'll leave it at that. You gotta do what you want, but I promise you this issue will never die, it's the way it's going. So, all right, everybody ready to adjourn? I'm ready to get out of here. Do what you want.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Jim Marlowe? Bert Gentry?
Yes.
Kim Atkins?